Tonight, you're going to lie down and close your eyes. Your body will begin a sequence it has repeated for millions of years. But before you fall asleep, something is going to stop you. A glowing screen, a notification, a thought that won't disappear. And you'll lie there awake, frustrated, knowing you should be sleeping but utterly unable to shut your mind down. You'll think to yourself that you're just bad at sleep. But the real answer is far stranger. Your body isn't broken. Your body is following a script written 200,000 years ago, a habit so ancient and so powerful that no amount of willpower can override it. And the more you fight against it, the more it fights back. This habit isn't something you chose. It's something your ancestors chose for you, long before you were born. Every night when you try to sleep, you're caught between two completely different worlds. One is the world your body evolved for. The other is the world you actually live in, and your body has no idea which one is real. When the sun sets in the modern world, you have options. You can turn on a lamp, you can check your phone, you can scroll through endless streams of information and images. But for 99.9% of human history, when the sun went down, your options were zero. The world went dark, completely dark. Not the darkness of a bedroom with a window, not the darkness of a city at night with street lights glowing on the horizon. Total, absolute, enveloping darkness. Your ancestors sat around fires and watched the flames flicker. Then those flames went out, and they slept. Here's what you don't realize. Your body isn't controlled by the sun. Your body is controlled by light itself, specifically by a wavelength of light called blue light. This might seem strange until you understand where the system comes from. Roughly 200,000 years ago, your ancestors were living on the African savanna. They had no electric lights, they had no screens, they had no cities glowing in the night. What they did have was the sun and the stars. Every single day, the sun would rise. It would climb into the sky, and it would flood the world with blue light. That blue light traveled through your ancestors' eyes and hit a group of cells deep in the back of the retina. These cells are called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, or iPRGCs. Scientists didn't even discover these cells until 2002. In the year 2002, researchers finally understood that your eye contains a completely separate light detection system that has nothing to do with seeing. This system doesn't care about shapes or colors or movement. It only cares about one thing: blue light. When these cells detect blue light, they send the signal to a region of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is your body's master clock. It's a tiny cluster of roughly 20,000 neurons that sits right above your optic nerve. And this clock controls everything. It controls when you feel alert, it controls when you feel tired, it controls your body temperature, it controls your hormone levels, it controls your metabolism. Every single day, your body operates on a rhythm called a circadian rhythm. The word circadian comes from the Latin circa, meaning around, and dies, meaning day. Around a day, approximately 24 hours. But here's what's crucial. Your circadian rhythm isn't exactly 24 hours. It's usually between 23 and 25 hours, depending on the individual. Your body's natural clock runs slightly slower than Earth's actual rotation. Without constant reset, you would gradually shift to a later and later sleep time, drifting forward an hour or so every week until your sleep schedule cycled completely around. But that never happens. Why? Because every morning when the sun hits your eyes, it resets your clock. It tells your brain that it's the beginning of a new day, and your entire internal chemistry shifts accordingly. For thousands of generations, this system worked perfectly. The sun rose, your body woke up. The sun set, your body prepared for sleep. Humans were so synchronized with this pattern that we didn't even need alarm clocks. We didn't need to plan our sleep or schedule it. Our bodies simply knew. When anthropologists study modern hunter-gatherer societies that still live without electric light, they find something remarkable. These people sleep on average about the same amount as modern humans, roughly 7 to 8 hours. But how they sleep is completely different. They don't sleep in one long consolidated block at night. They sleep in biphasic patterns, 2 separate sleep periods. They might sleep for 4 hours after dark, then wake for 1 or 2 hours, then sleep for another 3 or 4 hours. Some cultures sleep even more fragmentally, with multiple short sleep sessions spread across the night. This isn't insomnia. This is how human sleep naturally organizes itself without electric light. This is what your body expects. The problem began roughly 150 years ago. In 1879, Thomas Edison invented the incandescent light bulb, and suddenly, for the first time in human history, we could have light whenever we wanted. Night wasn't dark anymore. You could read at midnight. You could work after sunset. You could extend your productive hours far beyond what daylight allowed. Optimistically, this seemed like pure progress, and in many ways it was. But your body didn't get the memo. Your body was still operating on a 200,000-year-old program, and that program had one fundamental rule. When it's dark, you sleep. When it's light, you stay awake. Electric light broke that rule completely. And when you break a rule that's been encoded into your biology for hundreds of thousands of years, things start to go wrong. At first, the disruption was relatively mild. People slept a bit differently. They might go to bed later, they might wake up earlier. Sleep researchers noticed a pattern. In 1968, a researcher named Nathaniel Kleitman conducted one of the most famous sleep experiments ever recorded. He and the colleague climbed into Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, which is completely sealed off from any natural light. For 32 days, they lived without any external time cues. No sun, no clocks, no indication of whether it was day or night on the surface. What Kleitman discovered was that without light cues, human sleep patterns became erratic and fragmented. People slept, woke, stayed awake for random periods, then slept again. Their circadian rhythm drifted, and they had no way to reset it. Kleitman's research confirmed something fundamental. Light isn't just something you see with. Light is the primary way your body knows what time it is. But here's where the problem became much worse. Light bulbs were just the beginning. In 1960, the first color television was invented. In 2007, the first iPhone was released. And suddenly, not only did we have light at night, we had intensely blue light. You see, different wavelengths of light have different effects on your circadian rhythm. Red and yellow light barely affect your clock at all. Green light has a moderate effect. Importantly, blue light. Blue light is the hammer. Your iPRGCs, those light-sensitive cells in your eyes, are hypersensitive to blue wavelengths. They respond most strongly to light around 460 to 480 nanometers. And this is precisely the wavelength that your smartphone emits. It's the wavelength of the LED screens on your computer, your tablet, your television. Everything we stare at after sunset is pumping blue light directly into the cells that control your sleep schedule. In 2015, a Harvard study led by researcher Dr. Charles Czeisler examined how different light wavelengths affect melatonin production. Melatonin is the hormone your body produces when it gets dark. It makes you feel sleepy. The study found that 2 hours of iPad use suppressed melatonin by about 55% compared to reading a printed book. 55%! Your body was producing more than half less of the hormone that tells you to sleep. And this happened because of light in the blue wavelength range. Your body didn't know you were looking at a screen. It just registered blue light. The same blue light that, for 200,000 years, meant the sun was still up and it was time to stay awake. So your brain shut down melatonin production and cranked up cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps you alert. Your body essentially got the signal that it was the middle of the day when it was actually the middle of the night. But it gets worse, because your circadian rhythm doesn't just affect when you sleep, it affects everything. Your body has a 24-hour cycle for virtually every biological function. Your body temperature fluctuates by about 1 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit over the course of a day, with the lowest point usually around 4 a.m. and the highest around 6 p.m. Your hormone levels spike and crash on precise schedules. Your immune system is stronger at certain times of day and weaker at others. Your metabolism shifts. Your cognitive function peaks at different hours depending on whether you're naturally a morning person or an evening person. Your digestive system operates on a schedule. Everything is synchronized. It's an orchestra, and light is the conductor. When you disrupt your circadian rhythm, you're not just losing sleep, you're creating discord across every system in your body. Researchers have found that people who work night shifts have higher rates of obesity, higher rates of diabetes, higher rates of heart disease, higher rates of cancer. Workers in one long-term study who worked rotating night shifts had a 40% increased risk of heart disease compared to day workers. This isn't because they're tired, it's because their entire body is fighting itself. Their circadian rhythm is telling them to sleep during the day, while their work schedule is telling them to stay awake. Their digestive system is trying to shut down while they're eating. Their immune system is trying to power down while they're exposed to germs. It's biological chaos. And this applies to you even if you don't work night shifts. You know, because you have a different kind of night shift now. It's called modern life. When you lie in bed at 11 p.m. with your phone in your hand, scrolling through social media, checking emails, watching videos, your body is experiencing exactly the same disruption. Your circadian rhythm is shattered, your melatonin is suppressed, your cortisol is elevated, and your body is fighting against sleep while simultaneously trying to prepare for it. This creates a vicious cycle. You can't fall asleep, so you grab your phone to distract yourself. The blue light from your phone makes it even harder to fall asleep,